So hello, my name is Tasha Smutney. I am a gold consultant as well as an IATAN card holder. And I wanted to talk to you about how to balance full-time work and managing your travel business. I am a full-time elementary music teacher in a public school, currently in my 24th year. So I am working full-time, at least during the school year. A little bit of a difference that, my summers, I am able to work my travel business full-time, but most of the year I am doing both. Okay. So I see a lot of people who have said, they've got at least a part-time job or a full-time job. And we're just going to talk today about how you can manage that, right? What do you do to make sure you have time to run your business? Because it does take time, it does take work. It's not going to happen without those things. So finding what you can do to make that happen, right? So I found this cool little picture because I feel like so many times it just feels like time is getting away from me. Like, where did all the time go? Where do I find the time? And I feel like that's the biggest challenge for a lot of people. I have my full-time job, I have my family, I have these commitments. How do I make this all work? Right? Don't get hypnotized by that picture. I'm not going to keep that one up there. But the biggest thing we have to start talking about first is time management, right? If you're working another job, you really have to figure out your personal time management. You do have to work with your schedule. It determines what your schedule is, how you manage your time. You know, we've got people who their full-time job is working overnights, or we've got nurses who, yes, they work full-time, but they have a different type of full-time schedule than other people. Maybe they're working 2 days on, a day off, 3 days on, whatever those schedules are. We've got people who their other full-time job can be more flexible because it's their own business, or they own a hair salon and they can manage that schedule to make it work. Some of us don't have ways that we can manage our schedule. It is what it is, right? And you have to work with what it is. So step one to time management really is looking at what your current schedule is and figuring out how you can work with it, right? So for me as a teacher, I have to be at work Monday through Friday. I have to be there by 8:15. I cannot leave that building until 3:15. Period, no discussion. Now, I am lucky that my work schedule happens to have my lunch and my planning time back to back in the middle of the day. So I have, from about 11:45 to 1 p.m., that's my time every day. I would be lying if I said I did not use some of that time to work my business. There are days I work school stuff that time. It's very rare that I'm not at least checking emails, texts from agents, because I am a mentor during at least my lunch part of that. Okay. But there's definitely times I work that entire time on my travel business, um, or checking in on things or whatever that case is. All right. So I do have some time in my workday. I do it ethically. I make sure I go on my hotspot. I'm not using school Wi-Fi, right? For that reason. Because those of you who have not worked in a public school, they can see every single thing you do on their school Wi-Fi. They know what you're checking, right? So work with your schedule. Set aside specific times that you're going to work your business. Even if you find 1 hour a day, maybe you don't have an hour or 2 hours continuous a day you can work, but you can say, okay, I can work for 30 minutes before I leave for work in the morning, right? Or 20 minutes. I can do 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, whatever works for you, but make yourself that schedule. It's an appointment with yourself to work your business, right? You set aside time when you have a work appointment for your full-time job. You set aside time that you have a doctor's appointment. People set aside time in their schedule. This is my workout time to get my exercise in. Do it the same way, right? I'm going to work. I'm going to get myself up and ready for work so that I don't get into the computer void, because that will happen. If I get up and get on the computer before I get ready for work, I'm going to be late for work. I'm going to get up. I'm going to get myself ready. I have that 20 minutes before I have to get in the car that I can do my social media marketing for the morning, right? Set aside that time and kind of plan what you're going to do in those, especially if it's a small chunk of time, right? That helps a lot. Maybe you say, you know what? I'm going to stay up an extra half an hour at night and I'm going to work my business, or I'm going to get up earlier, whatever the case may be. All right. It does sometimes involve making sacrifices. You know what? Instead of that hour of TV I was going to watch, I'm going to work my business. Or maybe you're able to work your business while you're watching that hour of TV. Okay. But it may mean making changes to some of the things in your schedule that can be let go. Right? I know moms who, sit in the school pickup line while they're waiting for that pickup line to start moving in the car. They're on their phone or they got their laptop and they're doing something for their business. Like there's times you can find to do it. Maybe we have somebody on our team who her daughter's in competitive gymnastics. When she's at that gym with her daughter, she's also working her business instead of 100% watching her daughter, but they're there every single day, so she's doing that. But there might be, hey, maybe I have to give up something to make the time if I don't have the time already there to find. And that's different for everybody, right? I've often joked that I've given up cleaning my house in order to make my business work. I do live alone so that no one else is impacted by my cleaning of my house. But what can you let go of a little to make a little time? That sometimes has to happen. Right? You also have to prioritize your tasks. Right? What's the most important thing you have to work on right now? Is it, looking up mock bookings? Or is it you have a client that is waiting on a quote that might have to come up before anything else in my business I'm working on? Right? Which are the most important things that you have to get done on your business? If you're a brand new agent, maybe your priority is finding 2 or 3 trainings a week that you can go to, or 2 or 3 trainings a week that you watch recorded because you can't make them live. Whatever the case may be, find what your priority currently is in your business and make those things work. If you're a newer agent and you don't know what trainings you should be attending in order to prioritize your learning, talk to your mentor, right? Ask them, be like, hey, here's what I want to do with my business. What should I be learning? What should I do? All right, let us help guide you so you can use your time as best as possible. Because if you focus on, there's so many things you could do in your business. Let's just put that out there. You could spend hours upon hours doing small little things that aren't going to make a big difference in your business. Yes, they're going to help in the long run, but you spend all the time doing the little things and miss the things that have to be done right away. And then that causes more stress, more chaotic feelings, all of those things. So you got to kind of take a step back, go, wait, what's the most important thing? I've only got 30 minutes. What do I have to do in this 30 minutes? Right? Those types of things really, really help with time management. Okay. And then you really do have to get organized. Because if you've only got small windows of time to work and you spend that whole time going, oh my gosh, what do I have to do? You've now wasted all the time you could have used. So we are going to talk next about ways to organize, but it's really important that you are organized, right? So plan, you must plan. You have to have a plan to stay organized, to know what you have to do, so that we're not getting into the cycle of wasting time, right? I just think he's so cute, and I saw that little one and I wanted to put it in. But maybe you're not an organized person yet. Maybe you don't know how to organize things. I am somebody who's very organized in many aspects of my life. And then people will see things and be like, oh my gosh, I never would have thought that about you, that you're that unorganized. For example, with my business, I'm constantly on my computer screenshotting things, and they just end up pictures on my desktop. So we were at one of our professional development days, our afternoons that we do, and I'm sitting with my laptop with all the other kindergarten through fourth grade music teachers, because that's what I teach. And I minimized whatever window I was working on, and they could just see my desktop. And one of the girls turns to me and she went, I'm shocked, because literally the whole screen is covered with screenshots, because that's not something I've had to worry about. Like, I'm just like, it's there. I take care of it like once a month. I clean up my desktop, get rid of the screenshots, but it's chaos on my screen. But it's not important for me to organize that right now, right? I organize what I have to on my computer and let other things go. But I have to be organized in my business and make sure I know what I have to do. So again, whether you're organized or not already, find a system of organization that will work for you. Everyone's system is different. You know, there's people who are, I need physical paper. I need that paper. I need to cross it off the to-do list. I need to have a folder that I can look at. This is what I'm working on. This is what's finished. This is if I can get to it. There's people who those folders would drive them crazy and they can't have that. So whatever your system is, but here are some tips, some different things that might work. So I just said you could have physical folders. I'm going to be honest, when I first started, that's what I thought I was going to do. Over on the side of my desk, I got a big stack of like folders in one of those like magazine racks. I never touched them because that wasn't an organization system that worked for me. Not in this business. It is something that works for me in my teaching, because honestly, I'm not at my like that computer to look at things. So I have to have, my class lists are in front of me in one binder and each day of the week, so I can, take attendance, do on the go assessments as a teacher. That system of organization doesn't work for my business. So you might have to see like, oh, I do this in my work, but no, it doesn't work for this. You might have to play around with it, see what works best for you. Some of the things I do use. I am a huge fan of to-do lists. Sometimes I do physical ones. I do get satisfaction in crossing something off. It's done. I've also moved on to digital to-do lists, and I just delete stuff. Like I'll do on my notes app on my phone, or I'll make a Google Doc or something. I'll delete it or I'll highlight it and do strike through, because I still like that satisfaction of crossing it off. Even when the list is 12 pages long, if I could cross one thing off, I'm like, I made such progress, right? To-do lists are huge. And again, that's a place where you can prioritize. If you write down all the things you need to do, put a star next to the things that are most important, or highlight it, or whatever the case is that works for you. It is important to have some kind of calendar, some kind of planner. It can be a physical one. It can be digital. I do like to have an actual calendar, like a desk calendar. I need a new one because mine ran out and I didn't get a new one. But I do have a planner. I have a nice planner. Ooh, I'm blurred. You can't see my planner. But I got a happy planner. It happens to be Disney themed. I'm a big fan. Let me take off my background. I'm a big fan of stickers in my planner. It just makes me happy, right? So so I'll put like stickers when someone's traveling, or little stickers that I have to like contact whoever about their final payment, contact them, check them in for their flights, whatever the case may be. I love that. And then I do like, I'll highlight stuff as I need to, but I love the stickers. So like I have a lot written in there, right? My personal appointments, my trainings, um my travels, my clients' travels. Now, that being said, I also keep a digital calendar, but I use both. My planner also has a notebook at the back so I could write lists and things. I'm somebody who needs multiple places to keep track of dates and things like that. Okay. That's just who I am. And part of that is learning your own style, right? Learning your own style. But you do need a way to keep track of things, because even if you're not booking a lot now, once you start having that, you need to know, all right, my client's final payment date, I have somebody I need to contact this week. Their final payment date is the 29th. I'm going to email them this weekend with their credit card authorization form for that final payment, to give them a good amount of time heads up and say, hey, please fill this out. Let me know when you'd like to call me to make that final payment before this date. Okay. And I have that written down in my planner and in my digital calendars to know, contact this person, because I would never remember, right? It's our job to make sure a client doesn't miss a final payment. It's our job to know when can they do their online check-in for their cruise. And yeah, if you're new and you've got like one client traveling, that's easy to do. But what if you've got like 10 clients traveling the same week? You've got to find a way to have some kind of calendar planner. And with that being said, I also didn't put that in the same order, but I use Google Drive, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. But I set reminder alerts. I use my phone. I will just, where did I put it? I will just either say Siri, or I'll push the side and I'll say, set a reminder for tomorrow to send credit card authorization to Ashley Solomon.
Okay, I added it.
And now it's there. And I'm going to get an alert tomorrow like, hey, if you didn't do this, you got to do this. It's going to pop up on my phone. Right? So I am a person who needs, because I'm doing so much, multiple systems to make sure I don't miss something. Like if I don't get the reminder one place, I'm going to get it somewhere else. Right? So Google Drive, I actually do a whole training on Google. I am going to show you my Google Drive. But oops. One of the things I do to organize clients, I have a folder for every single client. Now within that folder, I make a folder for each of their trips. All right. So that everything is where it needs to be. You know, in here, I've got everything, their credit card authorization forms, their itineraries, and that kind of a thing. Now, other people, when they've sent me things like, trying to remember somebody who sent it to me. When somebody sends me like passports, stuff like that, I have their 2 trips, but this is a document she sent me with multiple pictures. I'm not putting that into a specific folder because I'm putting it here. Other options, now Google Drive is completely free. Other options, there are client management systems. I was using TravelJoy and I've recently switched to Travefy. So you can now store client information here as well. That's why there's not much here, because I recently just switched to it. I'm just starting to use it as of October. But you can keep information, their email, their address, their phone number. There's also places that per trip you can keep the credit card number and it expires after a certain date. And it's completely secure. So I have started doing this just because I can also see when my client views something like an itinerary, and it puts together a really nice thing for them. You just put the info in. We do also offer people, there is a training on Travefy. This does cost money. So we do try to teach you first things that will not cost you money. But I like this just because I can put in the airline and the flight and it's going to populate all the information. I can put in the name of the resort and it's going to pull all this stuff up, including pictures. So it is an option to use a client management system that you pay for. However, we are very big proponents of don't pay for anything until you're already making money. Okay, we don't want to necessarily say you have to get this, you should do this. Like, obviously, if it's going to help you, by all means do it, but I'm able to organize things that way. Other things I have, you're able to, I have to remember what I called it now. I downloaded from Vax. You can download, if you have bookings on Vax, you can export the list, and I'm able to organize it by when the clients are traveling and when their payment date is. Admittedly, I have to do some cleaning up of my Google Drive, but again, it's not on my list of priorities right now, so I've let it go, right? I just don't remember what the Vax was called. It should be under Vax, but I'm not seeing when I type Vax. Here it is, Vax custom. So you're able to download it. It has the reservation number. And I sorted these by payment due date. So here's obviously the one that I need to remind them of next week. Now, they still owe $14,000. I need to let them know now. Like we can't tell them 2 days before, right? But it has all that, and I can sort by final payment date, not by travel date, which typically will line up and correlate. But when you go into Vax, it sorts them by booking date, not by travel date. So I just download that so I have it. But I use Google Drive a lot to organize my business. And as I said, I think I'm doing it tonight, actually. I think I'm doing that training this evening. I do one every Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern time, and I think that is mine tonight. But if we just look at like what my day looks like, all right. So my typical day when I'm working, I will check my email. You do got this, because if I can do this with my crazy schedule, people can do this. I wake up, I check my email, I check Discord, I check any texts I have. Those are actually all things I do before I start getting ready for work. I get ready for work. I come on the computer. I do my social media marketing posts. All right. So those of you who are super brand new, what we typically teach with Facebook is every single day you should be posting, and we post in groups on Facebook that allow us to advertise. All right. We post in groups our travel ads. Now, if you're going, I don't have to, how do I have time to make travel ads? Don't worry about it. As a team, we've put in a huge effort to make sure you have travel ads to copy. Right in Discord, travel ads to copy. Every week when I do mock bookings, I do a training on it, I put them in here. Not only do I put it in here, but I give you what you should copy and paste with that picture, and above it, I told you where I found it. So Disney in December, I went to My Profit Agility. I got this resort and that type of a room. This is an instant commission. So it's 866 to the vendor, 2,133 instant commission paid for you. I did theme park tickets through Disney travel agent site, 6-day, 1 park per day ticket. So I told you exactly what I did. So if you get a client who inquires about it, you know how to book it, right? Here's one. All the pictures you need. I went on Vax. ALG Vacations Black Friday promo. I used FunJet. This is Breathless Punta Cana Resorts and Spa. All right. It shows you where to get it, but you can post this. Post the exact thing, but change it to your name and your phone number so that you don't have to spend time making travel ads if that's not something you can prioritize. We've already got them. All you have to do is copy and paste them, right? Copy and paste them. We've got tons of things in here. Michaela's great about posting things that you could use for engagement that's not necessarily an ad, but you post this on your Facebook business page, people are going to interact, which is going to up your algorithm, right? So there are ways to make shortcuts, right? To make shortcuts to do that. And if you should be friending your mentor, your gold, your platinum. You can take anything from our pages that we post. Just change it to your information. So I'm going to tell you right now, if somebody calls me, I'm going to assume it was from my post. Not that you forgot to change the phone number, right? I don't want to steal anyone's posts, or clients. But if you don't change it, that's what happens. I go to work. As I said, I do often use my lunchtime to do work for my business. I don't always use my lunch and my prep because I do need that prep to actually do schoolwork. All right. And then after school, when I come home, I am working my business. Now, that being said, I do not have children that I have to worry about their busy schedules. But you work around that. But when I come home, that afternoon time or evening time is when I'm doing trainings for the team. I'm gonna be honest, most days on my drive home from work, I'm talking to my mentor, Michaela or Julie, and we're talking about team things. I spend most of the time, if I'm doing quotes for clients, phone calls for clients, those happen in the evenings because that's when I have time to do it, right? I work around the other things I have to fit into my life in order to make it work. Right. But I do, I do make sacrifices at times to make sure I have time for things. I don't sit and watch TV nearly as much as I used to. Like every once in a while, I'm like, oh, I really think I just want to watch some TV right now. And I do. But you have to figure out your schedule, your time management, your organization for all of those things to work. And that kind of a thing.